Useless Ashley, and welcome to my channel. Alright, today we are going to be talking about Trump being an FBI agent, which is crazy. Then we're going to talk about the Chicago protests, and we're going to talk about the new Supreme Court ruling, because the Supreme Court is just insane. And then we're also going to be talking about what's happening in the Missouri House of Representatives, so some local stuff for me, and yeah, so let's get into it. Excited to see everyone today, but before we get into it, please like and subscribe and turn on post notifications and all of the things. Yeah, so let's get into today's headlines first. All right, so today there was a lot going on. So Chicago has been protesting. So Chicago came out and protested over the weekend after Donald Trump posted is it like a meme? I don't even want to say it's a meme because it's not funny, but he posted this meme of Apocalypse. It's Apocalypse Now, right? I have not seen the movie, but it's him, and he's saying that Chicago's going to learn why they named it to the Department of War, which essentially is like declaring war on a U.S. city. So everyone, there are people who think it's hilarious. There are people who are just like, whatever. I honestly... I think it's crazy. I think it's insane, and I think it's terrifying. And it's wild that our president is posting that about an American city. But anyway, we'll be talking about that later. Trump was booed at the U.S. Open, which I love, because he told them to take out any boos while he was there. If people booed him, he didn't want, I guess, whoever was, I don't know, I don't watch the U.S. Open, but he didn't want them to air the booing, but he did get booed, which of course he did, and obviously he knew he was going to get booed, but I nonetheless, I think it's hilarious. Sabrina Carpenter at the VMAs, I did not watch the VMAs, but during her performance, she had a lot of her performers were drag queens, and they were holding up signs saying "Protect the Dolls," which is amazing. Although some of the entertainment news stations did not point that out. Interesting that. The big news of the day, which really is just insane. The Supreme Court says that race can be a relevant factor in immigration status checks. So in LA, when they were going to sue, they were suing the Trump administration for what was going on in LA, and that they were like racially profiling people at LA and just going up to them and just stopping them and not even really having any cause. And the Supreme Court just ruled that they can do that. If you are brown and they think that you are an undocumented immigrant, that they can just like take you, they can detain you, they can just check you. It doesn't matter. Wild things happening in this country. Like I keep saying, I'm glad that there are courts suing the administration, but then I'm also scared when those decisions inevitably end up at the Supreme Court. So there's one of them where they just let Donald Trump do whatever he wants. All right. Sorry, that one really makes me mad. Okay, so Missouri Democrats hold sit-in for 100+ hours to protest the GOP assault on democracy. So here in Missouri, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but here in Missouri, they're trying to gerrymander and redo all the districts. And then they're also trying to do away with citizens being able to put amendments on the ballot. And we've had a lot of those amendments in Missouri that have gone through, although the government here in Missouri still doesn't like, we had a pro-choice amendment go in, and then they didn't honor it and said they weren't going to do it. So, they do that a lot. But we're going to talk about the Missouri Dems that did a sit-in for 100 plus hours. And then last but certainly not least is Israel has attacked the Salmud Aid flotilla. So there's a bunch of flotillas. I think it's like the largest group that have gone. And they just attacked one of the flotillas. So that's not good. And that's what we are dealing with today. Oh gosh, it's been insane. So those are today's headlines. The locals are gonna love this one. Yes. Oh my gosh. All right, so now we're going to get into the topic of the day, which I've been waiting to talk about all day because everyone's been talking about it and it's really funny. So let's get into it. All right.
There were tears in the room. There was outrage. It was both, I would describe it as heart.
All right, so Speaker Johnson the other day said something that was literally insane, and now the right wing is kind of like taking it, and like it's become their new excuse for Epstein. But Speaker Johnson essentially the other day said that Trump is an FBI informant. That is what he said. He said that Donald Trump is an FBI informant. Now, he has since walked that back a bit because it has caused a stir. And it's funny, he didn't think it was going to cause a stir, saying that a sitting president was an FBI informant. Crazy that he thought that was just like an okay thing to say. But here we're gonna listen to this. Here he is bringing that point up. Okay, it's ridiculous. It's insane. But this is our government. Okay, so let's watch this video.
Heartbreaking and infuriating that justice has been delayed so long. Some of the women in the room.
I expect he will, but I mean, the whole effort has been mooted. It's not necessary anymore. Let me make this very clear, as we've made several times the last couple of days. The Oversight Committee's effort goes further than the discharge.
I do not know what's going on. I watched this earlier and it was not like this. Here, okay.
It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible...
Okay, let's go back a little bit. Sorry. I don't know what's wrong with this. I watched this earlier and it did not do that. Okay.
Epstein did as a hoax. It's a terrible...
I'm not going back far enough. There we go.
He's not saying... It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
That's not why he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Also, it's quite funny, and we're going to watch Tim Pool talking about this, which has been making the rounds, and it's hilarious. But we're also going to watch Benny Johnson talk about this. And, it's really funny that this is what they keep saying. Like, he's saying it's not a hoax. It's not a hoax. They're going to say, oh, well, the Bidens covered it up. The Obamas covered it up. Which is really crazy because then why don't you just release everything? Okay, so then just release everything. Just say everything you know then just tell us what you know, release everything, and everything would be fine. I don't know, maybe stop acting so defensive. Maybe stop saying it's a hoax. Maybe stop saying that it doesn't matter and it's a Democrat-run hoax or whatever the hell. Like, him saying it's a hoax is just him, I think, admitting blame, really. But he's sitting here, Johnson's sitting here, and he's like, he didn't mean it was a hoax. He thinks it's horrible, and it's just a horrible thing that happened. No, he said it was a hoax. He means it's a hoax. He said what he meant, and they always try to do this. They try to take something that Donald Trump has said explicitly, has explicitly said, and has been very open about. And they're like, no, but that's not what he meant. Yes, it is what he meant. He said it, and he said it was a hoax, and you all are trying to run cover for him. And now you're saying he's like a FBI informant, which is insane, which is insane. That's an thing that I just crazy thing to say to try to cover up for him. Also, that is not why he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. They had a fight over real estate, and he's actually said this, and it's so funny because there are, you know, people who I've talked to who are conservative who like have not seen this video. Like, I think it was, anyway, I have not seen this video, but of Trump sitting here admitting, saying he took one of my workers. He took one of my workers. That's what he said. He said that's why he didn't like him anymore, and that's why he kicked him out, because he said he stole one of my workers. First of all, saying stole like they're his property, and then also it wasn't because he knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. It wasn't because he knew who Jeffrey Epstein was, a horrible person. He was literally just saying this about his about his employee who got trafficked by Epstein. So crazy. This is the lie they keep saying. This is like their go-to. Like, he kicked him out because he was a horrible person. That is not why he kicked him out. And there's a whole ass video of him admitting this. Like, that's not even like a month or two old. Okay? It's crazy.
An FBI informant to try to
okay, wait. Okay, he just said it. We got to go back a little bit. Okay.
FBI informant to try to.
God, why?
Kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows.
That was really funny. Okay, that was my first time actually seeing like this specific part of it, and you can tell he like realizes what he did after he said it, because now he's saying, well, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like like he's trying to cover up. He's like, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like, you know, he was helping them bring him down. It's like, well, no, it's not. But in this moment, you can see he knows he fucked up. Like, in this moment, you can tell that he's like, oh shit. Because then he starts stuttering. Okay, we're going to watch that again.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president
to try to take the stuff down, to try to oh my God, like that, he like noticed right afterwards. He was like, oh shit. Wait, what did I just do? Okay, so that's what he said. He literally said that he was an FBI informant and he was trying to take Jeffrey Epstein down, which is crazy. Also, on Friday, there was someone in the chat that was conservative and what kept telling me, like, he's an FBI informant. Mike Johnson just said he's an FBI informant. I had no idea what they were talking about in that moment. But now watching this, it's even funnier to me because you can obviously see that this man is like scrambling after he says it. He's like, oh shit. He was just, to try to, and then he looks at the camera like, oh shit. It's so funny. And of course it took on a life of its own. And so it's just funny watching this after someone telling me, like, they were in the chat and they were like insistent. They were like, no, he's an FBI informant. Like, this is real. It's not. But okay, like it's not real. And Tim Pool can't tell that either, because of course he can't. All right, so let's now watch Tim Pool's reaction to Mike Johnson saying that that Trump is an FBI informant. He literally creates like his own like alternative reality. Okay.
We've got this story from the Daily Mail. President Trump and FBI informants. Speaker Mike Johnson may have just spilt the beans as to why Trump is so concerned about this Epstein story.
referring to is the hoax that the
Super quiet. Hold on.
It's nice to know that I'm not the only one that has audio issues. Okay, sorry, I thought that was funny.
Is never saying to is the hoax that the Democrats are using to try to attack him. He has never said or suggested or implied. I've talked to him about this many times.
I mean, he said that it's the Democrats, it's a Democrat hoax saying that Trump said that Epstein is a hoax, even though during the press conference, he literally, as the survivors were having a press conference, he was answering questions from journalists, and he literally said it was a hoax at the same time. Like, literally at the same time. But anyway, I digress.
Many times.
It comes across as calling the whole thing a hoax.
It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this.
Now, there's a couple theories on this. One is that Mike Johnson let slip this statement to try and protect Trump's reputation.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if he meant like let slip, like this is real and he let it slip, or like he's just lying and knew this was a conspiracy theory on the right and just said it and then realized he shouldn't have said it like directly after he said it.
There's also that, basically like, oh, did you know he was an FBI informant stopping it? That's why. Or I think there's a strong possibility here. I don't know for sure. I'm not saying I trust Trump on any of this stuff. Elon says he's in the files, whatever. Let's get the files and figure it out. But let's at least entertain. Did Speaker Mike Johnson maybe accidentally just slip up that Trump was an FBI informant? And the reason why Trump doesn't want the documents released is that they're going to show that Trump was snitching on powerful people. That's prominent, wealthy individuals doing untoward things. And the documents are going to show that Donald Trump was a snitch.
Here's the
This is so insane to me. Because in the same sentence, Mike Johnson said he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago when he heard the rumors, but he was also an FBI informant to try to stop it. So like, which one is it? Did he know about what was going on and kicked him out? Or did he know about what was going on and that's why he was friends with him? Which one is it? Because it can't be both. And also, and I know a lot of people have like commented on this and like reacted to this, but something, that a lot of people have said are like, to be an informant, you have to like, you usually you do that in like a deal. Like they catch you on something and then you make a deal and then you become an informant. And this isn't like a 1-for-1, but I was watching the Jussie Smollett documentary on Netflix, and the two guys literally, God, I might have to talk about this one day, because the two guys that, everyone was saying that he like hired to do it or whatever, they're now going on like Fox News and they're doing a book tour, and I don't trust them at all. I'm gonna get back to the point though. So the reason that they like, I guess like said something to the cops, or I don't know, I don't believe, listen, I think Jussie Smollett is innocent actually after watching that documentary. But Jussie Smollett, like, they ended up turning on him or confessing to the police or whatever after the police like raided their house and found weapons, and so they then took that and got them to like essentially like confess. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to say here is like, they like, even if he is an informant, which I don't think he is, which I think is an insane thing to think, even if he was, he would have to have some dirt. Like there was something on him that they would have had to make him an informant. So he would become an informant. Anyway, it's just so stupid. Like, it's so insane. Like, this whole theory to me is so stupid. And I think it's been a theory for a minute on the right wing. Yeah. Melissa was kind of pretending that Trump did not have the powers to release it. Also, that Cash knew. IDK why that would be relevant. I think Jussie is guilty of being corny. Yeah, no, I get that. I don't know. I watched that documentary and I was like, damn, damn, like, and especially when you see the two guys that like confessed or whatever, they are literally now like they're going to all these like right-wing events. They've gone on Fox News, like they're writing a book, and I'm like, okay, I don't trust you at all. Like these two guys that like confessed, I don't trust them at all, like off the bat, because no, if you're gonna be like, I'm writing a book about this, or I'm going on Fox News to talk about this, I don't trust you at all, like one bit at all, actually. But yeah, that's how that's what I'm saying. Like, they had to have something on them to make a deal with them for them to confess. And so that would be the same thing. Trump would have already had to have been in those circles and already have known things, and they would have already had dirt on him for him to become an informant. So this whole like delusional idea that he was doing this to take Jeffrey Epstein down, to take all these powerful people down, is just that, delusional. It is delusional. Also, he's still friends with a lot of these other people, so it doesn't like like what is this? It's just like an alternate reality that they're just like conjuring up.
Argument that I don't know, obviously, but the argument against that would be if there was material in the Epstein files that would be damaging to Donald Trump and his business relationships, it would have been out by now.
I disagree.
The Democrats would have gotten them with it.
No, well, see, and that's the thing, is like there are probably Democrats on there, so of course Democrats aren't gonna release it. I think they'll release it now. I think now they will, but I think previously they wouldn't have, because they would essentially be protecting Bill Clinton. But that's the other thing, like, one of the survivors named Bill Clinton in that press conference, and so now that's what they're all going on. But Ghislaine said that Bill Clinton had nothing to do with anything. Do you remember that? She said Trump and Bill Clinton had nothing to, they were just sweet angels. Like, right, that's what she said, okay? And that's how I knew she was lying. So I knew she was lying, because Bill Clinton is obviously a part of this, allegedly, but he's obviously a part of this. And so her lying like that just shows that she's also covering for Trump, because she won't even say anything about Bill Clinton. Just saying.
If it was implicative of Trump, if the documents show that Trump was doing bad things to children and underage girls, they'd have released it. But if the documents show that Trump was working with law enforcement to stop this, that's not damaging Trump's reputation among his voters. It's damaging Trump's reputation among powerful elites he needs to do deals with. So the Democrats might be thinking, it's going to help Trump. If we leak files showing that Trump stopped Epstein, people are going to cheer for him.
This is so delusional. This is so delusional. He didn't stop Epstein. When did he stop Epstein? Also, Pam Bondi in his administration had the chance to literally put Jeffrey Epstein away, and she did not. Like, she went very, very soft on him. For, all these people who want to go hard on crime, all these right-wingers, like, she literally like was so soft on Jeffrey Epstein. So like at what point do they like, I just don't understand this. Like, I don't get it. Like, do you not think that there's a reason she's in his administration? Do you not think that like she's in his administration for a reason? Because she's going to listen to him, because she's going to do whatever he says, because she's probably already covered up for him before. She did the same thing when he got wasn't it like with his college or something in Florida? And because his college was a fraud and a scam, and she let him go. And so like what did he do to stop Epstein? Did he stop Epstein? No. What did he do? Nothing. This is crazy.
Right. Trump may be saying, if they find out that I ratted on Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and I was the one actually spying on him or wore a wire or did who knows what, these people aren't going to want to do deals with his business.
First of all, I don't think Trump could wear a wire. I don't think Trump could be an informant just because he just says shit. He just like does word vomit. Like, I don't think he even thinks before he says anything. Like, he just says shit and he just lies about everything. So I don't really think he would be that good of an informant or like would be able to go into a situation and like wear a wire or something. I just don't think... I don't see him as doing that. But this is just so insane. And like Bill Gates and all these tech people and all these billionaires, literally had dinner with him the other day, and we're like praising him and to like an embarrassing amount. I think the CEO of Apple said thank you like 8 times in one sentence. Just like, oh my God, just like embarrassing. Just so embarrassing. Just seriously, like I watched that video and I was like, wow, you have no self-worth. Just like you were just willing to sit here and just become oh my God, just like lick the boot. It's just, God, it's insane. Okay.
Trump was snitching on prominent world leaders. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying I believe that's the case, but it could be an explanation. Trump was a snitch. I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna paint Trump in the worst possible light in this regard. Trump only cared about himself. He only cared about his organization. When he heard about what Epstein was doing, he said, this is exposure I don't need. And when the FBI came to him about Epstein, he says, I'll do whatever you want. I'll help you out. And they say, wear a wire, give us a list of names. What if Trump gave ledgers from his club to the FBI? What's going to happen to Mar-a-Lago when all of the people who spend their 20 grand, I think it's like 200 grand to sign up or something. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like 20 grand a year or something. What's going to happen when a bunch of these people find out that their names and private information were handed over to the feds as part of a criminal investigation into Epstein or to illicit activities? What if Trump was informing more than just Epstein? What if Trump was feeding the FBI information on tons of cases about prominent, powerful elites?
What if Trump is just like some secret agent, okay? He's like some secret agent and he's just talking to all the powerful people and he's taking them all down. All because he wants to... Because what? Because he wants to protect Mar-a-Lago? Like, Jeffrey Epstein literally, as Trump has admitted, has literally like trafficked women that worked at Mar-a-Lago. Trafficked girls because they were underage, I believe. So trafficked young girls, children, and that's where Epstein found them. So what? What do you mean helping save Mar-a-Lago? He literally lived right down the street for them. There is no way he didn't know what was going on, allegedly. There is no effing way. There's just no way. And again, to think that Donald Trump, of all the people, is sitting here and is going and is being an informant for all these different billionaires and going in and just finding all the fraud. What do you mean? Like, this is such a delusional reality that this man is some like secret FBI agent informant who's over here just looking into all these corrupt people. Then why is he so corrupt? Why is he a criminal? What? This is so insane. This is like so insane. This is just like... This is like so, it's like delusion on another level. I don't understand. People actually look, like, I don't think Tim Pool means any of this. Okay, I don't think he means any of this. But there are people who really look at Donald Trump and think, man, he's just such a good guy. He's just such a good guy. I don't understand how people see that. Like, I literally don't get it. Because you look at this man and you look at the things he said and you look at the things he's done. How do you sit here and still honestly believe that he is a good person and that he wants what's best for people? How? And like, to be so deluded that you think that he's finding all this corruption everywhere, man. That's why he's this big businessman, because he's just helping find the corruption. He's just helping find the corruption. Man.
that would be extremely bad for Trump's business and his dealings with powerful elites, so much so that he'd be like, we can't release this stuff. It would destroy my family's business.
Yeah, no. That's the only reason why they wouldn't be able to leave to release it. No. It's because he's a hero. That's why they can't release it. See, that's what everyone's not realizing. It's because he's a hero, and that's why they can't release it. Not because he's a criminal. No. Because instead, he was undercover trying to help everyone. Don't you see? Don't you get it?
My legacy, if people find out that I was basically a spy for the federal government against powerful elites, the populace, his voter base might be like, wow, Trump was actually trying to stop bad people.
Oh my God.
That's not what...
This is so insane. No, but like he is the bad person. What are we saying? Oh my God, this is so insane.
The powerful people are going to think, though. They're going to think, destroy this guy. I want revenge.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know how true this is. I'm interested in finding out more. But
None of what Tim Pool said is true. Everything that Tim Pool just said was just a complete alternate reality. Just an alternate reality that he has created in his mind. That now people are going to go and be like, no, this is real. No, he's an informant. He's trying to save us. Because that's what everyone thinks, right? That's what everyone was saying. If you watch The Good Liars and they go to these rallies and stuff, and people are like, no, he's going to save this country. No, he's going to save us. Are we saved? Are we saved? Like everyone's like, are we great yet? Are we saved yet? Has he saved us yet? Like, hello?
But I will say this is actually it's more believable that he was an FBI informant than that he was a KGB informant, like it was asserted by what's his name. So
Jonathan Chait.
Yeah, Jonathan Chait. So I think that and also it would be a good thing because it would prove that he's more patriotic than Jonathan Chait would think as well. But yeah, I don't know that he is, obviously, and I want to see more information. There's a tweet going around that was, I forget the guy's name, but now that this has come out, there's more information kind of trickling out. People are saying, yes, Donald Trump was an FBI informant.
Has Johnson been asked?
No, but like, who is saying that? There's more and more information coming out, but like, who is saying that? Because Mike Johnson already kind of like, he's walking away from it already. He's already kind of like, well, it's just like common set knowledge. No, it's not. You said it. You just said it because I don't know. I don't know who you thought you were talking to. I don't know if you thought that this was just going to be like Twitter and you could just say something and people would just be like, oh yeah, okay. But you literally told this to actual effing journalists, okay? And so they're not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, sure, he was an FBI agent. No, they're going to be like, was he wearing a wire? What do you mean? Do you have proof? What the hell did you just say? And of course it's going to be breaking news because it's insane. And so now he's like, well, it's just like common knowledge. I don't know. Dude. Like, this is so insane. Like, you messed up, and now everyone's just like running with it. Everyone's just like running with it. Information trickling all over my phone. I know. I'm like, from where though? Like, where is it coming from? Where's this information coming from? Okay. I don't know if I want to watch any more of this. I just thought that first part was funny because it's so insane, and I just want to know, I want to know how this conspiracy theory is going to go now, because we're going to watch in a second, but that drawing just came out of him that he wrote for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday with like a lady. And so we're gonna talk about that, but like, as you can see, I think the Democrats are serious. They're like, okay, we're gonna start releasing some of this, and how much long? Like, listen, I think the delusion is gonna be forever. Like, I don't think there are a certain number of people who are just never going to see Donald Trump as the bad guy. There's just a certain number of people that will believe whatever he says, whatever he does, and it won't matter. if the truth is staring them right in the face. They're just not going to believe it. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, now we're going to watch Benny Johnson's reaction. His video, like right when you start watching it, it gets there's like this really loud music, and every time I don't, it's not fun, but just forewarning you. See, it's like really loud. Okay, I don't care. It's just too much. It's like too much. And his thumbnails are always the most insane thumbnails. They're just like psychotic always. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit in because he just has very loud music. That frustrates me. Okay.
They all asked about Trump, and none of the victims said they ever met Trump or knew Trump.
Okay, so he's talking about the press conference, and the press conference that the survivors did. Now, the one survivor did mention Bill Clinton being one of the perpetrators, and one of them did mention Trump, not that he was a perpetrator, but that like he knew or he was around or he was like with Epstein a lot, and that Epstein had his picture on the desk. So it's interesting that they're going with this Democrat hoax thing. A lot of them are going with it, and they're going with, oh wait, they're also going with the whole Bill Clinton thing, like, oh, she named Bill Clinton. Can you believe it? She named Bill Clinton. Again, conveniently forgetting that Ghislaine Maxwell said Donald Trump and Bill Clinton had nothing to do with it, which is suspect. And then also conveniently forgetting to mention that she also mentioned, that same person who mentioned Bill Clinton also mentioned that Epstein would always talk about being friends with Donald Trump. He had a framed picture of them on his desk and all this other kind of shit. So they're conveniently forgetting those things. They're conveniently forgetting what the survivors said about Trump. So, just saying, I just think it's a little interesting that they seem to forget that when they're talking about this. Why doesn't he have an adult's first name? I don't know. He's honestly like, God, I knew his reaction. I just wanted to see how he reacted to this because he's also very delusional. But, it's just kind of like annoying, like it's just so forced. I feel, like everything about him is just so forced, and it's just not, he's just not believable, but there are reasons for that. All right.
Or saw Trump at all. They all said that live on camera, and most importantly, they said that different administrations assisted in the cover-up of the Jeffrey Epstein crimes dating all.
Yes, and who is that's a wild thing to say right now in America. Like, that is a wild thing to say right now when he literally said that anyone who would vote in Congress to release the files was doing a hostile act towards the administration. What do you call that? What do you call that? It's also convenient that they haven't talked about that either, that they haven't mentioned that either. Just saying, crazy, the things that they just seem to forget have happened.
All the way back to 2006, the Bush administration, then through the Obama and Biden administrations. And so these are breaking news events. And we decided earlier in the week to frame all of it up. And this is what we posted. We went super viral for doing this. This post has 20,000 reposts and 49,000 likes. And here's what we said. Most important video on X right now. And it's true because they just held a press conference on Capitol Hill. Attorney for the Epstein victims standing outside of the Florida courthouse, confirming that Donald Trump is the only high-profile figure that helped him prosecute Epstein. Here's exactly what the guy says. The only thing I can say about Trump. Okay,
so this is my first time. I watched this earlier, but this is like, watching this was my first time hearing about this part of it. Now, I think this is interesting, but we'll get to why in just a second.
Is that he's the only person that picked up the phone and said, let's talk. I'll give you absolutely everything.
That I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them. He is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
Okay, so I think that's the important part, that they didn't have to take a deposition of him, okay? Because when you take a deposition, people are writing notes, it's getting recorded, like it is on paper. What you're saying, what you're saying is recorded and can't come out. Him saying this to the lawyer, obviously that information, like, it's not going to just come out because it probably wasn't recorded, or if he wrote it down, it wasn't like written down in a formal matter. And so I do think that's interesting that he didn't have to do a deposition, and that's probably why he gave that information. I also think it's interesting that, like, of course, I think he's trying to get information from Trump and is trying to be like, hey, you helped me before, help me again, because of course Trump is paying attention to all this. But I also think it's interesting that they're using this as like, see, he's not a part of it. When how would he have all of that information that checked out, that helped them, if he didn't know about what was going on? And why now, if he was then so open, why now is he not just as open? And why now does he not want to talk about it? I think that's interesting. And I think it's interesting that they're trying to use this as like some proof that he has nothing to do with anything, where I think it actually gives proof that, one, he didn't want to be a part of the deposition, and that's why he was willing to be so open, because I don't think he wanted to do the deposition. And then two, like, he knew all of these things. So why did he know all of these things? Why? Like, so he knew what was going on, essentially. I think this proves that he knew what was going on. But, yes, okay.
That was in 2009. That was in 2000.
So this is President Trump, and this was confirmed, by the way. This is the Capitol Hill testimony and press conference. This is the same lawyer saying
President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that, he didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me.
Yeah, exactly. So why is he saying it's a hoax now? So why now, when the government, who probably has proof, why now does he not want to talk about it? Why now does he think it's a hoax?
Things that were helping our investigation. Now,
so this is the same lawyer saying the same thing, that it was only Donald Trump, only President Trump, that assisted in putting Jeffrey Epstein scumbag behind bars. Now, this man.
I love how Trump is like the hero in every one of these stories. Like, in every one of these stories, he somehow comes out as the hero, and that him being involved with Jeffrey Epstein is not suspect to them at all. It's just, oh my God, he helped and he talked and he knew all this information. I don't know how he knew this information, but like, he, because he didn't know anything. He didn't know that's what he was doing. And once he did, he kicked him out. But he was also an FBI informant who was also trying to take him down. Crazy.
There's a number of other firsthand accounts that we've heard on this program and in the public arena of members of Mar-a-Lago, famous writers, people that knew both of them at the time. Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club. He banned him. He had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein after he found out about his underage predations.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not why he kicked him out. They keep saying this. It's just this lie that everyone keeps saying. And like, again, I would be talking to my family members and they were telling me this before he even became president. I would be like, why was he friends with Jeffrey Epstein? Like, why was he friends with Jeffrey Epstein? Back when, the Sound of Freedom or whatever the hell that movie was came out. Why? Why was he best friends with him? Why, all these things. Why? And every single time I would hear the same thing. I would hear, well, he kicked him out once he learned. And so this has been a conspiracy theory that's been around a lot, and it's a lie. It is not true. Donald Trump said the truth not long ago. This is crazy. But they really believe it. And so again, but then how did he have all this information? If he for all that time, he didn't know what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, and then when he did, he kicked him out. How did he know all this information? How did he have all this information that would help? How in your mind, how do you have those two things in your mind at the same time? It doesn't make sense.
Seems to be the only guy that did that. Just guys like Bill Gates cuddled up to Jeffrey Epstein even after he caught a case for underage sex trafficking. Well, now we have something massive that kind of explains and locks in all of this. Speaker.
No, it locks it in. No, it locks it in. It's not contradictory. It locks it in. It locks it in.
Mike Johnson just confirmed a rumor that we had heard over the past couple of months. The rumor was that President Trump was assisting law enforcement in locking up Epstein. This is perhaps why Donald Trump is so angry about all of this, is that people are saying that he's part of it. He was the only guy that was like actually helping out. That's according to the lawyers, but now according to Speaker Mike Johnson as well. Nancy Mace says that she's worried about crossing Trump on Epstein. Donald Trump is the one who banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. He was
literally like this. Why do they keep saying this? Why do they keep saying this? This is their go-to every single time someone talks. Well, he banned him. From Mar-a-Lago. Okay, what about the decade before that?
FBI informant. He talks to the feds. He talked to the feds to get this guy turned over. Trump is a hero in this, said Nancy Mace earlier in the week. Do we know that Donald Trump was an FBI informant? Was this publicly known knowledge? And now, lo and behold, here's the Speaker of the House saying it. Donald Trump was an FBI informant.
Saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who suffer these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
We had never heard this before. That President Trump was an FBI informant.
He's so serious.
Listen to this.
We had never heard this before. It's so serious. We have never heard this before.
Terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI
is he just
informant to
watching
try
it again?
to take this stuff down.
He was an FBI informant to try and take this stuff down. Says Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, somebody who's very close to Donald Trump. Well, as you can imagine, many people said, was this AI? Is it fake? It's not. It's part of this interview. This is a walk and talk interview from a CNN reporter. His name's Manu Raju. And it's here from this longer clip that was posted on his account.
Okay. He's not really giving any commentary. He's just like, it's breaking news and it must be real because Speaker Johnson said it. Oh my God, this is so delusional. But yes, the right has deluded themselves into thinking that Trump is actually the hero in all this. And the reason that these files are not coming out is because he was an FBI informant. That's why, because he's a hero, because he was helping everyone, even though he won't help now. He's been calling it a hoax now. He thinks it's a hostile act if they try to release the Epstein files. Like, okay, sure. Keep going on with this delusion. And something that they are still denying is the drawing that Trump made and gave to Jeffrey Epstein as a birthday present. And now that drawing has been released, which is so insane. It's even cringier than I thought it was going to be.
You're watching The World with me, Yalda Hakim. More on the French political crisis shortly. For now, breaking news from Washington. Democrats have released a suggestive birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein, signed apparently by Donald Trump. The president firmly denies having anything to do with the letter. Well, let's get the very latest and go to our U.S. correspondent, James Matthews. And James, just bring us up to date because this has developed in the last half hour or hour or so.
It has, yeah. The story, Yalda, you'll remember, goes back to July. The Wall Street Journal reported that this hand drawing existed, signed Donald, and they were making the link to Donald Trump, although he denies all association. Basically, and I think we can take a look at it because it has now been published. Okay. This is a hand drawing.
Okay. I don't know what I was thinking when they were saying like he drew a woman's body. Like I'm not really sure what I had in my mind, but like this is like, I mean, of course it's really bad, but like it's also like it's so strange. Like who Only like a demented person would think to do something like this. But yeah, so this is the drawing, and it looks just like they said. His signature kind of looks like the pubic hair. And he just has like a script running down their body. It's just like very strange. It's just like it sounded strange when the news came out, but even just seeing it, it just looks even more strange. I did not imagine the arms would be cut off. No, exactly. Like, I don't know what I imagined, but like it wasn't this. But I guess it makes sense because it's a very simple drawing, and Donald Trump is just not that smart of a person. And so I guess it doesn't surprise me really at all. You know, every day is another wonderful secret. I know they're going to get into that. I just think like the new heights that the right is going to try to deny all of this is honestly astonishing, and it's so crazy to watch their reactions to all of this Epstein stuff, and just like creating all of these different conspiracy theories and like different realities, and it's just crazy. The proof, it is staring you in the face, and you're just sitting here like, well, maybe he is the hero in all of this. Maybe he is the hero in all of this.
Of the body of a woman said to have been collected by Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, now in jail. This was a part of a birthday book, pulled from friends and given to him before his conviction for his 50th birthday. Now, that woman's form, signed below the waist, Donald, it has, at the top it says voiceover, and there is what presumably is an imagined exchange between somebody called Donald and somebody called Jeffrey. Remember?
I love that they have to say it like that, and maybe they don't, but it's just funny how they say it like somebody called Donald and somebody called Jeffrey. Come on. Like, come on. We know who this is. Like, come on. That just tickled me when I first heard it. Somebody called Donald and somebody called Jeffrey.
Trump and Epstein were friends for many years. The bottom line reads, "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Now, bear in mind, there are many questions about the association between Trump and Epstein and the
just like deranged, just deranged. I don't understand. This is just like, who does this? Is this how rich people conduct themselves? Like, is this normal for rich people? Like, is this what they do? They're just like weird and creepy and deranged all the time. I'm wondering, because how do they have a whole book of these? They have a whole book of this shit. Like, what? It's just wild that this is how rich people conduct themselves. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it's just crazy.
Extent to which there may have been improper associations. Remember, Trump flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet. There are pictures of him at parties surrounded by female partygoers and others. So
yeah, he also ran pageants in, like, weren't they pageants or the Miss America or what? Not Miss America. I don't know. I never watched that stuff. But he, like, literally, there were people who were a part of it who said that they were underage, and he went into their dressing room. Like, this has been known for I think there's even like video evidence of it. And nobody cares. Everyone just explains it away. Just explain, like, the proof and just just the cultural history of this country, and just like the history he has in this country, and the massive amount of evidence and pictures and videos of him just being a complete creep. And yet it just gets explained away every day of our lives. It's so crazy to me. This man is obviously a creep. Obviously. He he literally has been in a court of law said that he has done sexual assault, right? Because they can't say rape, but it was like sexual assault. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like this is real. And everyone still acts like he's some like hero in this. How? Everyone still acts like, well, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what their ties were. Come on, man. Like, I get it. They have to do that because they're a news station. But still, like, bro, this is crazy.
One imagines that this can only give traction to those questions, but also to calls for the release of the Epstein files. This image was handed over by lawyers for Epstein's estate. They say in handing over this material that they found no evidence of a client list. Remember, there is this wish, this desire, this call for a list of names associated.
Okay, I know a lot of people are like, there is no just like list, there's not just like one list, and I know a lot of people say that, but there has to be some sort of client list. There has to be some sort of like ledger or something where they decided this. Now, another suspect thing about Donald Trump is that when Jeffrey Epstein did go to jail, they did a raid on his house, like the time where he died. They did a raid on his house, and I think they took all of the video evidence, and Donald Trump was president then. So where's all of that video evidence? Because he had blackmail on tons of people. At least that's what the rumor is, or that's what the thing is that he had blackmail on all these different people because he had cameras in every room, was like surveilling every room, and he had blackmail on all of these powerful people. And so what happened to all of those? What happened to that? What happened to all of his all the videos that he had, all of the surveillance that he had? What happened to that? Where is that at? I think it got destroyed, right? And Donald Trump was the president then. So weird, suspect, crazy. Yeah, that was the Little St. James raid. Yeah, no, yeah, and he had a lot of stuff, and yet no one's talking about all of the blackmail in the videos that he probably had, because that never came out. No one said anything because he was president then. Someone that thinks they will never pay. Oh yeah, of rich people being creepy. Yes, they just think that they're just gonna get away with everything, which I mean, mostly they do. But and I mean, of course, Donald Trump has thus far. So I don't think he really cares, but yeah, I don't know. I wanted to talk about that. Everyone's talking about that, about Trump being an FBI informant. I don't think he's an FBI informant, and I think if you think that Trump is an FBI informant, you are deluded. Deluded. Yes, I think that no, he's not an FBI informant. That's crazy. So yeah. Crazy, alternate reality. Don't think it's real. All right, now let's get into some of the headlines of the day. There's a lot going on, but first we're going to talk about Chicago and the protests that have been going on in Chicago ever since Trump has been threatening Chicago, and when he posted that insane picture of him in Apocalypse Now because he is a literal crazy person. All right. All right.
And first, I want to say to every single one of you, on behalf of our community, thank you for standing with us. We sense your love and we sense your care for people who might be your neighbors nearby or your neighbors far away from you. Every single immigrant is a human. Every single immigrant has every single right to have their families stay together. We'll fight to abolish ICE. We'll fight to abolish ICE. Stay here. Immigrants are welcome here. Immigrants are welcome here. We're going to abolish ICE.
Yeah, so this is a video of just all the protests that have been happening, the protests that happened in Chicago, and it looked huge. I saw it online and it looked like gigantic. I think it's really cool that they went out and they did this. I love Chicago. Chicago is not, it's like 4 hours from St. Louis. I do love Chicago. It's a wonderful place. And so it sucks that they're getting threatened like this. And a lot of the Democrats, they just keep saying, oh, it's not legal. Well, I hate when they say that. I understand. I say that sometimes where I'm like, it's not legal. It's not a legal thing he can do, but it doesn't matter because he's going to do it anyway because he keeps doing it anyway. And if he just appeals to the Supreme Court's just going to be like, hey, sure, why not? So I get upset when that's what they say. But, a lot of the Democrats that have been interviewed about this are like, oh, well, it's not legal. It's not legal. He can't legally do that. But I think he's going to do it anyway. They're going to find a way to do it anyway. Aren't they using like a Marine base there. But Brandon Johnson said that the cops in Chicago are not going to work with ICE or like the National Guard if they come. So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Yeah. And then everyone also keeps saying, oh, what about I think a reporter asked Trump today, what about St. Louis? What about Memphis? Why don't you send the National Guard there? Because their crime is higher. And I really wish people would stop saying that shit. I really wish people stop saying that shit. Okay? As a person who lives in St. Louis, please stop saying that shit. I get it. Okay? I understand that you're like, okay, what about the red states? But I am telling you, he will come for us eventually. He's just not doing it now. But please stop. I know. And St. Louis is everyone's number one thing. And I'm like, please stop saying St. Louis. I am begging you to stop saying that. That's everyone's first notion. And I'm just like, please stop it. This is not helpful. Okay. Let's stop naming all these other cities. How about we don't send the National Guard in anywhere at all? Unless there's a natural disaster. You can send the National Guard to help with the tornado. But how about let's not send them in for any other reason? Why are we just putting up other cities for sacrifice? This is stupid. Just a what about? Just what aboutism? What about this city? No, the National Guard shouldn't be going anywhere. They shouldn't be going anywhere. Stop saying St. Louis. Okay, thank you. It's a very frightening thing because I feel like if enough people say it to Trump, he's going to be like, okay, sure, fine, I'll do it. He's threatening all these other cities. I think people think that he's just somehow not gonna ever come to red states, which is just not true, which is, I don't think, true. And I think he'd actually probably find it easier to come to our states because our governor would probably let him. Our governor would probably let him. They're bringing the FBI in here to, I don't know. Apparently they're bringing all these FBI agents here in St. Louis to help stomp down crime or whatever the fuck. And so, it's Believe me, just stop putting up red cities for sacrifice, okay? Listen, our governments are not good, all right? And they will put us up for sacrifice too because they don't like the blue cities in their state. So please stop saying, what about all these other cities? How about no? They just should not be in our cities at all unless they're helping with natural disasters, which is what they are supposed to be doing. All right. I love this. I love protests. They're great if you've never been.
They will never break us down.
I love seeing all the keffiyehs too. I love all the keffiyehs. And I love that they're right in front of Trump. That's amazing. Okay, so now that we've watched what was actually happening, we're going to watch... I'm sorry that I'm showing you this, but we're going to watch how Fox News reacts to this because it's just insane. They're insane, okay? All right.
So we begin with the showdown in Chicago. Protesters seen taking to the streets, marching in opposition to the president's federal crime crackdown and immigration enforcement efforts.
Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with those details. Good morning, Maddie. Good morning. That's right. Thousands of people gathered in downtown Chicago on Saturday, rallying against federal intervention. Let us check out this video. Many of the people carrying signs and banners saying abolish ICE. They're rejecting the deployment of troops. It is a major show of protest against what is happening in Chicago right now. Outside of the city, more than 100 protesters assembled outside of Naval Station Great Lakes in northern Chicago. It's said to be used as a hub for the administration's immigration crackdown. Chicago is bracing for more immigration enforcement. President Trump issuing a warning on Truth Social, saying in part, Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War, referring to the name change for the Defense Department. State and local officials are immediately firing back. Illinois Governor J.B.
I just wanted to put that picture up there while she said that, because something that they notably don't put up there, something that they notably don't mention, they mention what he said, but they notably don't put the picture up there. They notably do not mention what the picture said. And so I think it's hilarious that they're like, oh, he was just warning them. He sent out a warning. No, that is not what he did. No, he sent out this insane AI image saying shy-pocalypse with it up in flames, and then said, now you are going to see why we are calling it the Department of War. I mean, just saying the quote alone is insane, and to not even think twice about that and just be like, oh no, he just warned them. He just warned them. He just warned an American city that we changed our Department of Defense to Department of War to what? To then what? Like where like, how do you not see what he is saying? He is essentially declaring war on Chicago. And then he said, the first thing he said was, what was it? I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Like, this is insane shit. And this is what they do on Fox News. This is what they do on Fox News. They don't show some of his most insane shit. They don't show some of the most insane shit that he does. And so the people who watch Fox News don't even realize, don't even know, probably don't even realize that he posted this. Probably don't even know that he posted that picture. They probably just heard that quote and that's it. And so they do this all the time. They do this all the time. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so I just wanted to point that out because I think it's wild that they're not showing the actual picture and they're not showing what he actually posted. And they're just quoting a part of it because they don't want to show how insane this man is. Crazy. Just crazy.
Pritzker saying the president of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal. Donald Trump is not a strong man. He's a scared man. Illinois won't be intimidated by a wannabe dictator. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says the president's threats are beneath the honor of our nation, but the reality is that he wants to occupy our city and break our Constitution. We must defend our democracy from this authoritarianism by protecting each other and protecting Chicago from Donald Trump. Now, local reports indicate they have not yet seen a ramp up in ICE operations, but protesters say they just want to make their voices heard. Rachel, Charlie, and Brian.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thanks, Maddie.
Where were these protesters back in 2021 and 2020 when you had the government shutting down playgrounds, shutting down churches,
Great point.
putting people in jail?
No, it's not a great point. Also, okay, no, wait, let him finish what he was saying.
Walking around.
He said that he said in 2020 and 2021 that they were putting people in jail who were just walking around. I don't think that ever happened. I think that's a lie. That's a lie. Secondly, this false equivalency is amazing to me. She said, that's a good point. How is it a good point? How is kidnapping people and deporting them to a country they're not even from, how is that similar to closing a playground because of health reasons? How is that a comparison? How is that a comparison? In what world is that a good point? They're not even this is so insane. It's just insane.
Where were they?
Well, they were out there. They just weren't protesting those things. They were out there smashing, being
celebrated.
They were out there destroying cities. That's what they.
No, they were out there protesting.
they were doing in Minneapolis and other cities. They always protest the wrong thing. So
they always protest the wrong thing. No. We want you to protest our thing. You don't want to do our thing. We want to be able to kidnap. We want to be able to kidnap people and not tell their families where they are, where they're going. Why won't you let us do that?
Right. So in Chicago, we're trying to clean up the streets, keep people from getting murdered. And they're protesting the guys who want to help prevent all that stuff, right? They're always.
That's, first of all, the National Guard cannot prevent crime, cannot handle crime, they are not a crime prevention unit. They are not, that is not what the National Guard is trained to do. Okay, that's not what they're for. They're for force, or they're for to help during natural disasters. So having the National Guard there would really just be there for force, and typically they're there to protect ICE agents while they're out there kidnapping people. And so this is really just insane, because they're not stopping crime, they're not helping crime, and to sit here and say that no, they're going against that, they want crime to happen. That's also insinuating that all of these, well, of course, they just say it outright, that undocumented immigrants are just criminals, that all of them are just criminals. They're inherently criminals, which is not true. Most of the people that they have deported or kidnapped or have been detaining are not criminals. Like, the majority of them are not criminals, and it doesn't even matter, because if they are, then they go through our system, and our system isn't great. It's not, but they go through it. And so to sit here and say that there's just all these random criminals that are undocumented migrants that are just everywhere, and so they need to clean up, and they need to bring the military to clean up the streets, which is eugenics talking point, is insane. It's just not reality. It's a separate reality that does not exist. It does not exist.
Always on the wrong side, protesting in favor of the perpetrators, not the victim.
Yeah. Okay.
And somebody who knows about what it's like to live in Chicago and get murdered is John Caldwell, who tragically lost his brother to Chicago crime violence. He was on Mark Levin's show last night, and here's what he had to say about it.
I am a person who've experienced this firsthand with my innocent teenage baby brother Christian was murdered on June 24th, 2022 in Chicago. And I've been out for justice for many other families, not just my brother, but many other families, through the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety at caldwellinstitute.org. Support our efforts there. We have to change the trajectory of violent crime in Chicago. And the Democrats don't want to see Donald Trump come in, because they know that Donald Trump will be successful in his fight against crime, and it'll put their
like, it's just sad. I think it's sad when people who are victims of violence or crimes take that and turn it into like excusing fascism. And I'm not saying that it's okay that his family member died. It's not okay, and that's really sad, and it sucks. And like, I know people here who have gotten, like, I know someone who got their car stolen. Like, it's not good. It's scary, and it's not good. My car was broken into, but it was in Nashville actually, and not here. But I understand, it's not okay, and they're not okay, but bringing in the National Guard, bringing in the military is not going to change that. Also, my next question is, so if they come, and if you let them come into Chicago, you let them come into DC, and you say, oh, well, crime is down now. Well, crime has been going down anyway, but instead they're like, okay, well, we'll keep the National Guard here because it's reducing crime. How long is the National Guard going to be there? Are they going to be a permanent occupying force at that point? Because you think that because somehow they're preventing crime, even though that's not what they do, and that's not what the National Guard does. They can't even like arrest people. They can't. Anyway, it's just so stupid. But anyway, that's not what they do. That's not their function. But let's say that you do let them in. So then how long are they going to be there? How long before you just magically stop this problem? How long are they going to be there? And that's the problem. The problem is they're going to try to have them there as a permanent occupying force. And I think it's also intimidation for elections. And so At what point do we say this is fascism, this is overreach, this is authoritarianism? Saying that they're coming in here to help crime is not true. Also, crime has been going down, and I know people don't like to hear that, and I understand that when people get hurt and that when crimes happen to people, that to them probably in that moment that's not helpful and it doesn't matter, and I understand that. But crime has been going down. And it is because of things like Brandon Johnson and like the mayor in Baltimore, I forgot their name, but who have created programs and who have wanted programs to help people with after school programs, having resources for kids, having resources for people to just like sorry, I lost my train of thought, but just like having resources for people and having after school programs. And I think those things are very important. And something else that, like, again, nobody wants to talk about, but a lot of the crime that people want to talk about are involving guns. And, you know, in Illinois, they have strict gun laws, but again, St. Louis is not far from Chicago. It's like 4 hours. People can drive 4 hours to come over here. Okay. And it's wild to me that this is still not the main topic, that this is still not what we're discussing. If you put troops in there right now, sure, maybe because it's essentially martial law, there might not be as much crime because people are not leaving their homes because they're scared of the National Guard occupying their city. Maybe, yeah, it'll make it go down a bit, but what happens when they leave? What happens when they leave? How is that preventing crime? How is this a long-lasting solution? It's not. It is just fascism, and it's just occupying our cities. So I think it's just frustrating, and it's sad when people who are victims of that crime turn it around and turn it into like excusing fascism. It's honestly messed up, truthfully, in my point of view. Yeah. Apparently DC almost no crime anymore because of him. Trump is a clown. No, and that's the thing, but there was crime. I think there was like someone got murdered or something a weekend ago or something like that. I don't know. But there was, there has been crime while the National Guard has been there. It's just like, it's dumb. And a lot of crime comes from your economic circumstance. Okay. And so, you know, it's wild to me. And I try to explain this to people, but no one, like, you know, the people I try to explain it to don't ever really listen. But like, the reason people, like, they think that if they just go to jail, then that punishment, just cracking down, being hard on crime, is what them being scared to go to jail is what makes them not want to do it. Even though that's not true, because if you're someone who doesn't have anything, who has nothing to lose, who doesn't have like a supportive family or doesn't have resources, then like how do you expect them to be scared to go to jail when, like, I just don't know how you expect them to be scared when they probably feel like they have nothing left to lose already. Do you get what I'm saying? And then a lot of people also have mental health problems, and mental health problems are very rampant in this country, in a country where we are extremely violent, in a country where we have way more guns than anybody else, and we have violent rhetoric coming from the exact same people who say they want to stop crime are the same people who perpetrate violent rhetoric every single day on Fox News. And so it comes from so many different things, but they don't want to address that. They don't want to address the root problems of crime. They don't want to address it. They don't want to address it at all. And they want to keep you, like, actually, I think they want crime to be bad because they want to keep using it as a way to gain power and gain and have authoritarianism. Like, I don't think that they actually want crime to go down at all. They don't actually want crime to go down because they like using it as a talking point. So they don't actually care about any of the victims. They don't actually care about anyone who's been hurt in all this. All they care about is having a wedge issue, having a way to get power in America. And that's all they want. They don't actually care about anyone or these cities or anyone in them. Because if they did, then they would want to fund resources. They would want to fund schools. They would want to fund schools. Like, I feel like that's the most, like, the amount of schools that have, like, high schools in St. Louis that have shut down is insane. It's insane. And then some of them aren't even accredited. And so how do you expect kids who are in that environment, whose school just shut down, to think that, how do you think that makes them feel? How do you think that makes them feel? What do you think that makes them think? Like, and nobody wants to talk about stuff like that. And so it's just wild to me. It's just wild to me. And it just frustrates me so much when they try to use actual victims and what's going on and try to use that in a cynical way and turn it into, this is why we should have fascism. No, this is why we need to have social safety nets. This is why mental health resources should be more of, there should be more mental health resources. This is why if you do go to prison, it actually needs to be rehabilitative and not just being like locked in a cage and probably hurting your mental health even more by the time that you get out. It's just, and also don't even like, I dated someone who was on probation once. Did you know that you have to pay for the like anklet thing you have to wear? I forgot what it's called. Did you know you have to pay for that? It's like a weekly expense. And like, if you don't pay enough of it, you could go back to jail. Like, what kind of system is this? Like, we don't actually care if people get rehabilitated. We don't actually care if people, we don't care for people to not be, we don't care to help people. We don't care at all. We don't. It's just another money-making opportunity, essentially, which is, again, just so insane. It's just so insane. No, it's literally, when I learned that, I just like could not believe it. Like, I wasn't as into politics at that time. It was a long time ago. But when I learned that, I was in such disbelief because I just couldn't believe it. Because I didn't know. And I was like enraged for them because I just didn't understand how someone literally, if they go to jail, obviously they didn't have their job for however many weeks, months, whatever. So if they do have their job when they get back, great. But if they don't, then what are they going to do? How are they supposed to pay for that? How are they supposed to pay for it? And you have to pay for it. It's like a weekly expense. It's literally just insane. Like, it's the most insane thing in the whole entire world. And it's just, God, it's, I could go on an even more rant about this, but I'm not going to. Okay, I just wanted to see how they covered it, and that just made me mad and upset. So we're going to go to the next thing, which is probably also going to make me mad and upset. So while Donald Trump is threatening to send National Guard into the cities and sending National Guard to protect ICE agents, the Supreme Court just said that they can racially profile people and check them and racially profile them. ICE can. They can just do whatever. If they don't have to have a reason. If you're just brown, they can check you and it doesn't matter. They don't care. So yeah, that's what the Supreme Court decided today, because we live in hell. We literally live in hell. Okay.
The Supreme Court is allowing the Trump administration to resume sweeping immigration enforcement stops in Los Angeles as part of the president's campaign to carry out mass deportations of people in the U.S. unlawfully. So I want to bring in CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camila Montoya Galvez, who is following the story for us. Camilo, thank you for your time. Can you break down the ruling by the High Court?
Good morning, Mugo. The Supreme Court has given the Trump administration yet another legal victory on immigration and its efforts to carry out what the president has promised will be the largest deportation operation in American history. The High Court, through this ruling, is suspending a lower court order from July from a federal judge in the California area that had prohibited federal immigration officials in that region of the country from conducting what advocates called roving immigration arrests that relied on certain factors such as somebody's race or ethnicity, the fact that they were speaking Spanish or English with an accent. That order had required Border Patrol and ICE officials to have reasonable suspicion that somebody is in the country illegally before moving to deport them, and it blocked officials from relying on 4 factors during these operations: somebody's race and ethnicity, the fact that they were speaking Spanish, as I said, or English with an accent, their occupation as a day laborer, for example, or their presence in a location like a Home Depot parking lot. And of course, we have seen in Southern California over the past months really controversial immigration raids, including at Home Depots, that advocates say have been indiscriminate in nature. The Supreme Court is allowing those operations for the time being to continue, but I should underscore, Mugo, that the minority of the court issued a scathing opinion authored by Justice Sotomayor. She said, and I quote, "The decision is yet another grave misuse of our emergency docket. We should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work in a low-wage job." So clearly, this is a really divided court, but for now, it's yet another legal victory for the Trump administration's mass deportation campaign.
Yeah, it sure is. And let's stay on the topic of raids here, because South Korea says it has reached a deal with...
Yeah, so basically the Supreme Court said that because, so in LA, when the National Guard went there and ICE went there and the National Guard was protecting ICE and all these things, they sued the Trump administration because they were racially profiling people, because they raided a Home Depot and racially profiled the people who were there to be day laborers. And it was struck, like, there was a, as you heard, there was a lower court that said, yeah, you cannot do that. You cannot do this based on their occupation. You cannot do this based on their accent. You can't do this based on their ethnicity, their race. And then now the Supreme Court is like, wait, no, you can. You can, because Donald Trump, because they appealed it and it went to the Supreme Court. They went to the Supreme Court and they're saying, no, you can. So you can detain people, you can check people without reasonable cause, without, not that they were doing it in the first place, but you can continue doing these raids, going after people simply because they are brown or black, or simply because they have an accent or don't speak English. That is insane. That is like, sometimes I feel crazy because as this country is like even more fascist, just every day we wake up and it's just a new level of like fresh hell. And I just don't, it's just like frustrating because I just feel so crazy because they're talking about this so normally, but this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. Like, we are saying that you can just not lock anybody up, but essentially just lock anybody up, just detain anybody. It's essentially stop and frisk. It's saying, you're brown, here, come with me. We don't care, come with me, I don't care. This is insane. This is crazy. And this is why I'm so scared, because everyone's like, okay, well, the courts have been helping us. We have the courts will save us. But how long will the court save us? Because Donald Trump keeps appealing these court cases, and I keep saying this, but Donald Trump keeps appealing these court cases, and the Supreme Court obviously doesn't give a fuck. They obviously keep just doing whatever Donald Trump wants them to do. They don't care. Like, they don't care. They've been letting him do whatever he wants to do. They've been siding with him this whole entire time. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. And so that's why I'm so scared of all of these other things being appealed and taken to the Supreme Court, because I'm worried that they're just going to greenlight everything he wants, which is essentially what I think. I mean, that's what they're there to do. That's what they're there to do. That's what they're there to do. And that's why I wanted to watch this clip, but I didn't, but I saw the Majority Report react to it. It was Dave Rubin and, God, what's her name? The woman I hate, she's on Her Take. But Dave Rubin and, God, I don't remember her name. Anyway, they were sitting there and they were talking about gay marriage. And they were like, I just, I don't think it's really going to happen. Like, the liberals are all crazy and in their head. Now, mind you, these two people are gay. These two people are gay. And they're Julian Michaels. Yes, thank you so much. Julian Michaels. Thank you. So Julian Michaels and Dave Rubin are just sitting there and they're like, I just don't think they're actually going to do it. The liberals are going crazy, but I mean, it's not going to actually happen. I'm sorry, but yes, it is. Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And if you are sitting there as a gay person or a queer person, and you are sitting there and you are saying, and you are standing up for the same administration that is going to take it away, that will take it away, honestly, you're a disgrace. You're a disgrace, okay? All right, just saying, coming from a queer person, I'm still I'm a baby queer. I'm 31, which is crazy, but still. Anyway, it is insane and it is ridiculous, and it is a stain on it is just a stain in history, because all of these people have fought for you to be where you are right now. Do you know how many people have fought to be so that Julian Michaels and Dave Rubin could be sitting there, just sitting there and chumming it up? All of these people fought for your right to even be equal. I mean, somewhat equal in this country, and you're going to sit there and you are just going to desecrate their name and just mock everyone who's scared about this. Is crazy to me. And they're both married too, which is the most insane part about this. I don't know. It just made me think about that, because everyone keeps saying the Supreme Court's not going to do this. The Supreme Court's not going to do that. When are we going to come to the conclusion that yes, they are? Yes, they are. And they're going to do it unashamedly. They don't care, man. The mask is off. The mask is off. There's no more mask anymore. There's no more sugarcoating things anymore. This is what it is. Oh, God. ICE even detained 2 Canadian toddlers. Are you serious? What? God, what is this? What is this country? What is this country, man? Jesus Christ. I thought you were 19. No, I'm 31. I feel really old, all the time. It's kind of funny. But I guess I don't come off like that, which I don't know if is a good or a bad thing. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep watching, because they are going to mention the Hyundai raid.
The U.S. to release more than 300 workers that were detained during an immigration enforcement raid at a Hyundai plant in Georgia. So what are the details of this agreement, and what happens next when it comes to those workers who were detained?
Well, Mugo, as we discussed last week, this was the largest single-site enforcement operation at a work site for Homeland Security investigations, and 475 workers suspected of living and working in the U.S. illegally were detained by immigration authorities and state officials helping those federal agents. We understand that more than 300 of those 475 workers who were detained were nationals of Korea. Now we understand that the government of South Korea, as part of a bilateral agreement with the Trump administration, has agreed to send a charter flight here to the U.S. to pick up those workers so they can return voluntarily to South Korea. That would avoid the legal deportation.
God, that just makes me so mad. It just makes me so mad, because first, that's a shit ton of people. 300 people is insane. That's it. That's just insane. Also, to pick up people at work, and they're not criminals. Not that I don't think that them having to work and whatever. I don't think any of that should matter. I think we should really I think the narrative around this has gotten so far to the right that we're just we can't even see immigrants as human anymore. But to sit here and to get people who are working, who are actively working, 300 people who are not criminals, who were here legally, apparently they didn't have the right papers to work, but that doesn't that shouldn't matter. And it's crazy. This is so crazy, and it's just brutal, and it's brutal, and it's cruelty, and that's what this is for. It's the cruelty is the point, and at least their government is like coming to pick them up. But also now, like, and I hate saying this because I hate this argument, because again, we should see them as humans, not whether they can work or not. But like, this is only going to continue to hurt our economy. Our economy is struggling and going downhill. This is only going to continue. And if he keeps doing this, which they will, because this is Stephen Miller's baby and he just wants a white ethno state, then like, again, where is it? Like, to what end? To what end are we going to do this? Like, to what? We're just going to keep doing this until we just like inevitably collapse. Like, to what end? It's oh God. It's just, it's insane. Yeah, and if it hasn't been said, the employer walks away scot-free. No, exactly. And they're not doing anything to the employers. They're not doing anything to the managers. They're not doing anything to the people who are in church. They're not doing anything to the CEO, right? They're literally taking it out on people who have little to no, like, they have little to no say in any of this. Our immigration system is so hard. It's so difficult. It is a very long process. It's a very expensive process. And they do that on purpose so they can take advantage of people and have them working for wages that are under, you know, that are very small wages. And so they're taking advantage of these people. And then all while they're taking advantage of them, now they're like, okay, well, we're going to kick you out and you're not going to live here anymore. And you have to, and you know, you have to go home, and we're going to, detain you in the meantime, even though you are not doing anything. You are not like they didn't do anything. They did nothing. Yes. And the CEO is nothing's going to happen to the CEO. Nothing's going to happen to them. They're not going to do anything to them. They're fine. They'll be fine. It's like, God, it's just the cruelty is the point. Like, it's the point.
Process that could involve civil penalties, Mugo, and that could exile these workers from the U.S. for up to 10 years. So
that's insane.
This could be a more diplomatic way in the eyes of South Korea to handle the situation. Yes. It also avoids having their citizens remain in ICE custody indefinitely, Mugo.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the choice that they have. The choice is they go home to a place that who knows how long they've been away. Who knows how long they've been away from home? Who knows? They probably have created lives here. They probably have family here. They have friends here, but that doesn't matter. They don't care about that. So you're either going to be detained indefinitely, which is insane, or maybe taken to a different country, because the Supreme Court allowed that as well. That's something the Supreme Court allowed as well, for immigrants to be taken to a different country that they've never even been to before. Or you can self-deport and go back to a country that maybe you don't have family in, or you don't have as many family in, or that you haven't been to in years. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They are upending people's lives, and they don't care. It is disgusting. Like, this shit is so disgusting. I just like, oh God, it's so disgusting. And like, and South Korea, I think that's where they're from. They were saying like, well, how do you want us to sit here and invest? Donald Trump keeps threatening us with tariffs if we don't invest in America. But how are we supposed to invest in America when all of our workers you are detaining and criminalizing, and now saying deporting, and now saying that they can't come back for 10 years because of a civil offense, which is insane. This is insane, which they probably didn't have a whole lot of power over, which the people in charge at that Hyundai factory probably had more power over than they did, and yet they're the ones that are literally having their lives upended. The shit is disgusting. It's disgusting. God, it's so disgusting. And it's disgusting that the Supreme Court is like, sure, you can do this. We don't care. Go ahead. Any brown person, you see, just pick them up. We don't care. Do whatever. Detain them indefinitely. Just, oh God, it's so disgusting. All right, okay. Now we're going to move to local news here in Missouri. So, the Missouri House Democrats, have actually been doing a sit-in in the House for 100 plus hours, like I said earlier, because they are trying to gerrymander, and they're trying to change the districts, and they are also trying to make it so citizen-led ballot initiatives cannot go on the ballot, which is just, again, like I said, in red states, we already kind of don't have a democracy. Like in red states, we already kind of haven't had a democracy for a minute now. So, just something to keep in mind. When everyone keeps wanting to like sacrifice red states to the Trump administration, we already don't really have democracy here. Okay, all right.
Republican state lawmakers are making progress to approve a newly drawn congressional map, and Democrats are displaying their disapproval. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taylor Freeman. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. A House committee passed the new map yesterday, and a few representatives spent the night on the House floor to protest. KNU8's Casey Bennett joins us live from the Capitol with an update on the special session. Casey.
Taylor, most people throughout their lives have had a sleepover or slumber party of some kind. Now, 3 Missouri Democrats actually had one of their own, and it was right behind me in the Missouri House chamber. Now, this sleepover, it didn't have any pillow fights, just good old-fashioned protesting. In the middle of a special session...
It's such a wild way to cover this. Like, they don't want citizens to have ballot initiatives. They want to change the district so they can win. But, they're having a slumber party. This is an insane way to cover this, actually. Like, what the fuck?
The House floor is empty. Almost. There are 3 stragglers. Democrat Representatives Elizabeth...
Okay, Ray Reid, he is amazing. He's a great, he's great. I've seen him at protests. He's great.
Futches and Ray Reid, and Jeremy Dean.
This is kind of what our sleeping arrangements look like here in the House chambers. Started out last night by pushing these 2 chairs together. I have my blanket here. Representative Marty Joe Murray got me a nice little pillow out of his office here. Snuggled up between these 2 chairs. About halfway through the night, I ended up on the floor just because uncomfortable, which wasn't much better.
They are not happy with how Republicans are doing business.
The 3 of us that are here on the House floor have attempted over the last 3 days to call out the fact that there is no quorum in the House, meaning that we can't conduct business. According to the Missouri Constitution, you have to have a quorum in order to conduct business.
Dean is also frustrated with the length of...
I'm happy that they're using this, because that's something I know in the very beginning that people were saying, hey, you need to use these procedural like rules and stuff against them to try to, like slow it down or gunk out the machine. So I'm glad that they're doing that. But like I said, Ray Reid, I don't know about the other state House members, but I do know Ray Reid because I'm pretty sure he's my state House person. And so he's great. Like I said, I've seen him at like protests and stuff. So he, it doesn't surprise me that he's one of the people doing this. Isn't Wesley Bell the only Dem rep in Missouri? Yeah, so he's our Congress member. This is the state House, and so this is like for Missouri, and so this is for Missouri State, and so this is in... Why am I forgetting the capital of Missouri? Oh my God, I feel so stupid. God, I know it, but I can't think of it. Anyway, so this is where the state is, and Jefferson City. God, why? I forget everything. Thank you. Jefferson City. So this is in Jefferson City. This is where the capital in Missouri is. And so, they're just trying to stop the new districts. And they're also trying to stop them from taking away citizen-led ballot initiatives. I know. I don't know why I just forget things. I blame it on ADHD. That's what I'm blaming on. I blame it on ADHD.
Today they skipped the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance during session so that they could just gavel in and gavel out. It was shorter than yesterday's. Yesterday's was only 48 seconds to give you an idea of how fast these are going.
The House will come to order. The House will stand adjourned until 5:30 on September the 7th.
Last Friday, Governor Kehoe introduced a newly drawn map which will expand Missouri's 5th congressional district into more rural counties, shrinking the 3rd and 4th districts. Missouri Republicans have a 6-2 advantage in House congressional seats. This new map would likely give the GOP a 7-1 advantage.
Yeah, and it like splits up Missouri. It splits up St. Louis in like a very weird way.
The measure passed out of...
Yeah, it like it splits up St. Louis. So like Kansas City and St. Louis are the two blue cities in Missouri. And so it's splitting up St. Louis in like this really weird way. And then same with Kansas City, which of course is on purpose. It's on purpose. How does Kansas City have a Republican rep? I don't know. That's actually really weird. I didn't know that. I don't know how I don't know. Listen, St. Louis, I mean, St. Louis, you know, a lot of people, it's like people who say, you know, they're not from America, they're from New York, like they're not an American, they're a New Yorker. Like, I'm from St. Louis, not Missouri. Like, I claim St. Louis, I don't claim Missouri, okay? So I feel like St. Louis is, you know, we're always blue. We're always the ones that are gonna, you know, be blue and come out. But I feel like Kansas City is somewhat blue, and so that's why they're cutting them up into these weird districts, because that's where we live. And so they're cutting them up into these like bizarre districts.
Committee Thursday. I talked to Republican Representative John Martin on the phone. He called the sleepover an unnecessary publicity stunt and said the issues can be debated next week during normal session hours.
I'm sure that they'll let that happen. And I'm sure that that's like, they're going to, like, unfortunately, they probably are going to pass it. They probably are going to pass it because they just have a majority in Missouri, you know? Like I said, there have been many citizen-led, they're trying to get rid of citizen-led ballot initiatives because there have been many in Missouri, and like we have passed them, like marijuana legalization. We passed that in Missouri. We passed a pro-choice amendment, but they turned it down anyway. So they've already been doing this undemocratic stuff anyway. We had a citizen-led ballot initiative for paid family leave. They also didn't do that either. They didn't implement that either. They said they're not going to do that either. So they have been hindering our vote for a very long time, and they have basically they've been doing this to the bluer areas of Missouri for a very long time, and that's why they want to do this. That's why they want to take away the citizen-led ballot initiatives, because we typically pass them in Missouri. We typically pass them. And so they want to take it away because the citizens are actually passing things that they want, that the government does not want to do. And so they just haven't done it, even though we have voted for it. And so I think there's going to be another abortion amendment this in 2026, I believe it's coming up. I'll have to look more into that and I'll let everyone know. But yeah, and so they've been doing this for a minute now. They've been subverting democracy for a minute now, but there will be another abortion amendment on the next ballot. So, yeah, Abortion Action Missouri is the one that always does that kind of stuff. They're great. They're a great organization.
Now, Republicans say that the new map better reflects the voices of Missouri voters. There's a technical session scheduled for 5:30 p.m. on Sunday evening, but the full House likely won't take up the issue until Monday. For now, reporting live at the state capitol, Casey Bennett, KMU 8 News.
Okay. Yeah. So they're trying to do this in a lot of different places. And Missouri happens to be one of them. And our governor was like gun ho. He was like one of the first persons to be like, oh, we'll change it too. Like, we'll change it too. I feel like people have been focusing on Missouri a little bit more now, but I feel like for a long time, people didn't really like focus or care about what was going on here. But now I think they do, because our new governor, our old governor was horrible. He was a piece of shit and I hated him so much. But our new governor is not any better. And he's a little bit more like, I think he's a little bit more like outwardly MAGA and like wants to be a part of all of the things, you know? And so he was one of the first people after Texas who was like, oh, we'll do it in Missouri too. And so that's what they're doing. And yeah, unfortunately, like, it is good to call, if you're in Missouri, always call them, call your reps, make sure they know. But unfortunately, we do have, it's a majority Republican, it's majority Republican state. And it's because they have already like gerrymandered things. And so here we are. But yeah, that's what's going on in Missouri. I just wanted to talk about it because I'm really happy that those those Congress members are protesting and standing up. And now I think it's been like 100+ hours that they've been protesting, and they did a sit-in. So that's amazing and incredible. And I'm really happy that they're doing that. And shout out to Ray Reid, because I'm pretty sure he's my congressperson, my state congressperson. I should know more. I really should. I need to learn more. But I know a little bit about what's going on in Missouri. Not a ton, but a little bit. So yes. All right. Columbia is a little blue. Yeah, because that's where all the college kids are. So I can see that. That makes sense. Because that's where, yeah, Columbia is a big college town. So that does make a lot of sense. How red is Missouri without KC and STL? I would say pretty red. I don't know. There's a lot of like suburbs, and there's a lot of like rural areas in Missouri. And like, I used to volunteer at this farm, and it was in a very, very rural part of Missouri. And the things you see out there are actually, you know, it's funny because everyone wants to like fearmonger about the city, but like, I was more terrified when I went out into like the rural areas of Missouri. You see Confederate flags, you see people's with like those signs like trespass, don't trespass, I got my gun. And then I saw someone with this shirt on that was like, you're gonna see why we have the Second Amendment with this like rifle. Like, I've seen some crazy shit out in rural Missouri, okay? Like, honestly, like I was more scared being out there, truthfully, than I am in the city. But that's just me personally. And so, yeah, that's just even the road kills. Yeah, no, literally, like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, there were multiple times that I would, because listen, I got like stickers on my car and shit. Like, I'm not quiet about what I believe or what I think, obviously. And so, you know, I'm probably wearing something, or there's something on my car or whatever. And so I would go into these gas stations before or after volunteering. And I was just like, and I'm not going to lie, I would be like terrified. And like, you know, I'm a white girl. So like, I probably would have been fine, but I had friends who like, I felt even more scared for them being in that area, you know. It's a terrifying area. I don't know. Like, I always like to, you know, people want to fearmonger about cities, but rural areas also have crime and rural areas have crime and they're scary. So just saying, that's my personal opinion. I'm scared of rural areas of Missouri, but yeah, we do have a lot of rural areas of Missouri, and a lot of like suburbs and stuff like that. So I would say it is pretty red. And I would say the cities and like, yeah, the different college towns are the bluer, you know, little spots within a sea of red, unfortunately. But all right, okay, last thing we're going to talk about is we're going to learn some stuff, and we're going to learn about gerrymandering real quick, since that seems to be the topic on the mind, and that's what's going on. So we're going to talk about gerrymandering and what it is.
There are some things in life that Canada is just better at. Poutine, for instance, being polite, appreciating Robin Sparkles, and these days, elections. America does something very weird in its elections. The way elections are supposed to work is voters choose their politicians. But in America, politicians often get to choose their voters. The word gerrymandering comes from Elbridge Gerry. He was governor of Massachusetts from 1810 to 1812. After he took office, his party redrew the map of the state's Senate districts in a shockingly partisan manner. The aim was to help his party win as many elections as possible by creating as many districts as it could, or at least 51% of the voters would favor Gerry's allies. And that's basically what gerrymandering is. We've got 435 congressional districts in this country. Somebody needs to divide them up. And amazingly, most states let politicians divide them up. The results are...
Which is insane. Which is like an insane notion. Like, who decided that that's how we were going to divide this up? And if it was the Constitution, then I just think that's further proof that the Constitution was never meant to be equal, and it was never meant for all of us, and it was always meant for those in power, to protect those in power. But this is crazy. Like, this is actually insane. And just like listening to it, I feel like there's so many things we do in America that are just like obviously corrupt and like obviously to like suppress democracy and suppress the vote that we've just always done that we think is normal. Like the Electoral College, like the Supreme Court, like all these things. They're just like obviously anti-democratic, and yet we still have them and we act like this is like norm that we can't get rid of. Why are politicians doing this? This is so insane. I don't understand. Now, I know there was a movement a while ago that was trying to create like bipartisan maps, and it was an organization, but I don't know how far that went. Obviously not very far. Obviously not very far.
Are totally predictable. You can see how this works in North Carolina. Democrats won 50.5% of the House vote in 2012, but Republicans won 9 House seats to the Democrats' 4. If you want to see why, just look at the map. Look at District number 4. It kind of looks like two legs running away from this whole mess. Look at District 9, which is getting punched in the neck by District 5 and kicked in the gut by District 12. Damn, look at District 12. It's like a little worm wriggling away from North Carolina. These districts may look weird, but they're what political scientists call efficient. They cluster the state's Democratic voters into a few districts where they have huge majorities, and they spread the state's Republican voters into more districts where they have slimmer majorities. So in District 12, the Democrat won by almost 60%. No Republican won a district by more than 30%. That meant they could win more districts and more House seats in total. And that's what happens when you let politicians choose their voters. This is how...
And that's so messed up. And I feel like, and like I do, listen, I'm sure that there are areas in Missouri that would be more blue that are not because of stuff like this. Because a lot of these like red states have done these things so that they can take over the state government, because the state government has a shit ton of power. And so I do think that Republicans have been aiming for this like authoritarian type of government for a very long time now, and I do think trying to gerrymander and get power within all these different states has been a part of that plan.
Canada did it too, but then in the 1960s, they took the power away from partisan politicians and gave it to independent commissions. America could do this too if it wanted, and then we could stop feeling bad about how much better Canada is at elections, and instead feel good that we get to wear such a nice, polite country as a hat.
Hey, I'm Joe. I run Vox Video. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay. Did Missouri go for Obama in 2008 and 2012? I'm not sure. I can look that up real quick though. Let's see. I know we had like I know Obama did come here and talk, and we had a huge turnout. Let's see. I think, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell. Let me see. Okay. No, we didn't. No, John McCain. Yeah, so I think Missouri is a pretty red state. I'm not gonna lie. Like I do think Missouri is a pretty red state. But I do think they have particularly gerrymandered it in that way and structured in that way. I do. But we are a pretty red state. Even though I don't think Missouri was a part of the Confederacy, if I'm not mistaken, which is weird sometimes because I feel like this state was gonna feel like that. Let's see, Missouri. I don't think so. Yeah. No. So like, I don't understand. I don't know. There's a lot of like states that are super Republican, that are super conservative now, where people in these rural areas have these like Confederate flags. And I always get very confused because they always want to, their excuse is always like, oh, it's the history, it's whatever. But that's not the history in Missouri. Actually, like it wasn't a Confederate state. So no, you're just racist and you want to have some sort of excuse of why you think it's okay to be racist. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But people in here do think that. And so I think Missouri is pretty red. I do think Missouri is pretty red, unfortunately, which is why I don't claim it and I claim St. Louis. And that is all. Kansas City is a really fun city, though. I've been there. I was actually born there. Fun fact. I was born in Kansas City right after my mom got on a plane and wasn't supposed to. Her water broke at the hotel, and my dad was upset because they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl. And they could not because I was born. I don't know if it was the Super Bowl or if it was like the playoffs or something, but they had some really expensive tickets to go to this game in Kansas City, and I ruined that for them. Anyway, that has been the stream today. But before we go, I just want to update you on some like admin things. So I have decided a new schedule. It's going to be Wednesday and Sundays. That was not an option in my poll, but you know, you guys told me to look at the analytics, and those seem to be the best days. So we're going to do Wednesday and Sundays now instead. But I still wanted to do today because I haven't like posted the new schedule and everything. So yeah, but yeah, I feel like I was going to say something else and then I don't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, well, I will see you Wednesday. Thank you. Yes. Thank you everyone for coming. And yeah, thank you so much everyone for coming, and I will see you Wednesday. And I'm trying to think of anything else to say, but I don't think I have anything else to say. All right. Well, thank you to my members, to Troy Roberto, Queen of Daydreams, Crystal Safira. I saw you in the chat today. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you to my members. And if you want to become a member, I have like extra videos, how I became a leftist, stuff like that on there. And yeah, so that's what's going on. I feel like I've really butchered this outro. Anyway, thank you so much everyone who's come to watch today, and I love you all, and I will see you on Wednesday. And may your night be another wonderful secret. Yes. Oh, thank you, Creplo. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Oh my God, that's so sweet. You're amazing. Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you all. And this intro will finally be, this outro, I am messing everything up. I am butchering everything. This outro will finally be over. All right. Love you all. And good night.